lovely people. I hope that y'all are feeling courageous and healthy today. After my last video, I received intuition to make a video on voice, on speaking, and on expressing ourselves. When I first felt this, I tried to push it away. I said to myself, what authority or knowledge do I have to express anything in that realm? But after the call came, a lot of thoughts and ideas started to flood in, and my heart felt like it was cracking open. I really had to take a look at the insecurities that I hold about not expressing myself. I bite my tongue a lot. I try to be very careful about how and when I express myself. Otherwise, I shouldn't say or make anything at all. This idea that I have to keep focusing on myself and on healing in order to be better, to be good enough. And I can see now how that belief is really detrimental. I know that I have to understand that I am valuable regardless of the work that I do. I am worthy as I am. Baseline, I am good enough. In order to have self-acceptance, I need to replace this idea that being perfect or healing myself is going to make me a better person for the world. I keep these very high standards of myself that have just kept me separated and closed off to the world. I keep people at a distance so that I don't have to feel that rejection. Because if I truly reveal myself, then I won't be accepted. I'll be cast out. I'll be rejected because of my opinions, because of the way that I feel and I think. Because of my desire for people to love each other and treat each other and themselves with compassion and kindness, and to work on their shit. To make effort. Somehow I come up as this vile and evil being that others couldn't imagine having in their life. Whereas people willingly put up with cheaters and abusers and molesters every single day. They have a place. I'm not saying that they shouldn't have a place. It's just, and this feeling is based off of my own insecurities and judgments. But I haven't had this type of support or connection in my own life. Like, I don't have a place, and other people have everything, have support and love, and aren't even grateful enough to work on their own issues most of the time. I hope to have a lot of patience and understanding for others and for myself, and for the different realms that we all explore in and the different roads that we're all on. It feels really heavy to not have support, to not be loved, to not be seen, to not be forgiven for my humanness, to not be accepted for my anger and my passion, and to not accept these things in myself. It's a very strong fear and also experience that I've had in my life. Nobody truly knows me because I'm not displaying all of me, only the parts that I deem good enough or perfect enough to express. And I know that it's crazy, and I know that nobody is perfect. I recognize that I have these deep-seated cellular memories in my body and in my nervous system from past physical and mental abuse. My body literally braces to be beaten or shamed or humiliated for speaking out of line. If I speak what is in my heart or express the pain or frustration that I'm feeling, then I'll be punished for it. And that's just been really deeply instilled in me for every time that that's ever happened, every time that I was beaten for crying out. If you haven't already, I highly suggest you look into some research on the nervous system and on neuroscience and the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous systems. It's a really, really great field of study that you can learn so much about what is stored in your body during physical and psychological developmental years, and different ways to recognize when you're inflamed or when you're dysregulated. I might do a video someday in the future about it, but again, I fight those thoughts that are like, I have no authority on the subject. However, these things have influenced my life so much that perhaps I can pass it on to others. In the past, I haven't allowed myself to be, but I'm going to get uncomfortable and express some things that I've been feeling. I'm going to work on embracing the messy, complicated, human expression of myself and allow it to be imperfect and misunderstood. Some of the words I know that I need to speak out loud are the words I feel like I'm choking to say, or when it feels like even a feather falling on me would break the dam of emotions that I have. Those feelings that are so unbelievably uncomfortable and vulnerable to share. It takes so much courage to allow those feelings a space, to allow that expression. Most people in my life have been very uncomfortable with the way that I express myself when I'm brave enough to. It's unfamiliar to them, and it's hard sometimes. People don't want me to cast a light on the things that I observe. And I understand. I have been there many times myself. And I'm sure I will be there many times in the future. Life is so agitating. And we will hide from it. And we will create all of these illusions and these lies for ourselves. We'll distance ourselves and we'll hide. We don't want to hear the truth. We want to stay safe and comfortable. But it's not actually comfortable. That's why things hurt so much. That's why our souls are crying out. The mass spread of anxiety, depression, fear, anger, and violence. The unhappiness in our lives. We just accept it as normal. We think that being on earth just means that we suffer. That Jesus wants us to know that we are sinners and deserve to live in hell. That you don't reach heaven until you die, and only if you're perfect enough. It's not true. I could not imagine that to be what Jesus wanted to share. And I, nor anyone, could ever claim to know what that message actually is anyway. We are in heaven. In our minds. We are creating our reality. We live in the Garden of Eden. Everything we need is provided here. We are allowing these things in our life that are soul-killing. I felt afraid for a long time to say anything out of line or say anything negative out of fear that I would be punished by God or by others or by my own higher self. But these are skewed beliefs that I have the power to change. Usually people don't want to look at these confrontations as an opportunity to do something different. But that's exactly what they are. They are amazing opportunities. Most people want to stay in the familiar, and we get mad at people if they express or get too close to the truth that we don't want to look at in our life. We don't tell people how we really feel, and then we get mad at them for not knowing or for not doing something different. And we'll keep doing all of this until we're ready not to, I guess. Compassion means to suffer with someone, to know where they are, to hold them in that space. I wish to have compassion for others and for myself. A lot of things that I have to say are things that I wish other people would have said to me. And maybe someone did when I was very closed off, but they planted a seed. Or these are things that I wish I could say to myself and truly feel and know on a deep level. I want to say to others and to myself that have experienced this pain, you did not deserve to be hit for expressing yourself. You do not deserve to be hit or shamed for expressing yourself. For being human. You do not deserve to be beaten or abused. It is not your fault that you were beaten or molested, that others decided to disrespect you as a child. You are worthy of love. You are deserving of kindness and compassion. You are beautiful, and you are deeply loved. There is so much power and healing in saying those words to yourself instead of perpetuating this lie that I deserved that I am so worthless. Because trust me, I told myself much worse things. And I learned that growing up. I didn't just come out of the womb feeling these things about myself, thinking I'm this ugly, worthless monster. It grew in me the more that I heard it from others, or the more I saw it reflected in the standards of society that I just didn't match up to. I hated myself very much. I wanted to peel my face off every day, just like rip it off. I attempted suicide many times. I was in several psych wards from the age of 13 to 20 years old. I tried overdoses, hanging myself. I tried to jump out of a moving car on the highway. I tried to slit my throat. I used to abuse my body so severely, the same way that others did to me. And I continued to believe these lies from others for a very long time. Feeling these things have shown me why I'm so passionate about the things that I'm passionate about. And that it's okay to express that passion, to share myself with the world. I have deep passion for nature, for treating animals and nature with respect and kindness, for living in balance and with gratitude for this earth, with being kind and gentle and loving to the children. I have a passionate desire for people to have access to clean water and clean, healthy foods and clean air. A passion for there to be villages of emotionally intelligent people that can help support each other and the children. We can teach them different ways to live in this world. I have passion to support others and to communicate about all the shit that is happening and that our souls want us to open up to. I have passion for showing people the power that they have in themselves and that they are capable, that we can all support each other and share our gifts with each other so that no one is lacking. That we have the resources and the manpower to end hunger and poverty. That we can pursue happiness and peace of mind. It exists. There is goodness and beauty on the other side of this confusion and pain. It is each person's responsibility to work on themselves, to be the change we wish to see in the world. And it looks different for each person. For me, I've been on a journey for about 8 years now of sometimes small and subtle changes and sometimes really big and life-altering changes. It began around the age of 20, the last time that I attempted suicide. I finally made an agreement with myself to stop doing the same thing over and over and over again. I promised not to hurt myself in that physical way anymore, even when I really wanted to. To make an effort to try something different in those moments. Granted, for a while, it led to other addictions and harmful replacements, sex, drugs, and alcohol, keeping myself distracted with other things. And that's okay. It's all part of it. There are many layers and side roads to the journey that I've been on, that everyone has been on. Along this road, I created a different relationship with death. I realized that death is necessary for life to continue, for compost and fertility. And death is a part of initiations and rites of passages. The end of a previous version of ourselves feels like physical death sometimes. There was a part of myself that wanted old identities, old beliefs to die. My ego thought that it meant that I had to die, because at the time, I was just my body, if that makes sense. I was also in a space as a kid that I thought that only pain and darkness existed in the world. So why would I want to stay here if that's all that there ever will be? But I learned that that's not all that exists, and you have to go out and search for it. When I started following my soul, I learned that I could have seasons, just like the earth. I could let things go that I didn't need anymore and compost them. I could use that death to grow new life. And spring came. If I end up feeling called to, or somebody specifically asks, I can make a video someday on the different tools and experiences that I've had on my own journey to lead me to where I am, and also one on holding ritual and ceremony and the way that I do it. You know, it's a tool for self-improvement, to mold and build myself into a stronger and truer version of myself. Do not fear what you do not understand. I've been holding back so much. And maybe not always holding back, but refining what I'm passionate about and what I want to influence in the world. And I definitely think that there is some time needed to reflect and observe and be silent, to learn what is in your heart versus what is just purely based in unresolved trauma or an unwillingness to change. We are always learning on this journey of life, and truth is always changing. But I'm coming into a time where it's necessary for me to express myself as I am now, and express my truth and learn through that expression. To also admit to my mistakes and be willing to listen to other people's truth. To be willing to be flexible and not cling so hard to old truths and old identities. To get better through practice and stop judging myself for not being perfect in this. I think it's really interesting when I think about the way that others might perceive me. I think that I often come across as confrontational or chaotic. And that might just be within the people that I get closer to. I don't really know. It tends to lead to these explosive events, but they are such fertile and powerful moments of opportunity, learning, and growth. And I definitely have not always been aware or taken advantage of those opportunities in my past. I think that I've been afraid of these confrontations in the past because people just tell me, as a woman, you need to be silent. You need to be silent and good and kind. Don't speak up. Don't make yourself known. Don't ruffle any feathers. Don't shake things up. And that energy in me for years has been suppressed and resentful. Society tells us, mind your own business. Tend to yourself before speaking on others. I've always been told to stay out of it. But why? Because it's hard? Because I'm not a professional? Because it's uncomfortable? Because it's emotional and uncharted territories? So what? I'm ready to do that hard work. To be uncomfortable with myself and with others. To sit and discuss the things that hurt. I care so much about the people around me. I care about what's happening to you. To the animals, to nature, to the children. And I'm not gonna harden myself or close myself off to the world. Even though it's really uncomfortable and hard to stay open, and I would much rather stay safe. But I'm not gonna let society make me cold and detached. Even though in my daily life I don't have support, or I agitate others, or people can't see how much I care. But it doesn't matter. I'm not going to let that change me. I'm not going to let myself shut off. I will keep opening my heart and always returning. Like a flower that opens up and reaches for the sun and welcomes in those nutrients, and then, at some points it goes to sleep and it closes down, but I'm always going to open again. I believe it's in our nature to speak up, to make an effort, to interact and support each other. We are communal people. It's been suppressed from the common people because it would dismantle and disrupt the intentions of corporations and the rich families. that currently hold the power over you and your choices. We are convinced and shamed into feeling that we're supposed to be alone and separate, and that we need to stay detached in order to be safe. Why do we go to war? To fight other people's battles? To defend other people and children that we deem incompetent or in need? To take others' resources and land and lives? To meddle in the business of everyone else except ourselves? Why do we listen to the advice of doctors who are sick themselves? Why do we allow politicians and the government to dictate everything about our daily lives? Why do we allow cops to decide what is right and what is wrong and how to punish others when they have demons that they refuse to name? Other people can help be a reflection for the things that we don't want to see. Other words and examples can be opportunities if we are willing to see and accept them. I've been drawing a symbol of Eris or Lilith on my face for many years now. Eris happens to be the sister of Mars, Mars being Ares, the god of war. Eris is the goddess of discord and strife, and she enhances Ares. My sun sign is also in the sign of Aries. It's like this part of me that I've really been avoiding in a way because I'm afraid it won't be acceptable. But truly, deeply, it's because I'm not accepting that part of myself. And I look at all these myths and these stories and the archetypes that we have about goddesses and gods and even Jesus himself. All these stories with chaos and violence and blood and flipping tables. Sometimes we have these emotions or these experiences that we don't have the words for, and so we personify them or put them into archetypes. And we have value and respect for these past situations. It's a really funny situation that I don't accept this part of myself. Because so many people have been afraid of that power within me. That power to be chaos embodied. Right? Like, bring up those confrontations because it's necessary for change sometimes. I really feel like I've been trained throughout my life through these hard experiences. I've been trained to handle things through the hard way, through chaos and pain. Usually because I'm very hard-headed and I wouldn't listen to the lesson otherwise. But that's how a lot of the world is, honestly, so I've been learning. I'm still learning how to do things better and make it more productive. Not just burn everything down. Just like in the world, we want everything to just be destroyed, right? Zombie apocalypse. Burn everything down. But I think for an easier transition, or a middle ground, we can build these new structures. Then we can destroy the old ones. And the same for my life. I want to build new structures before I destroy old ones sometimes. I haven't quite figured it all out yet. And I often fight that desire in me to just cover the earth in lava and start fresh. I want to encourage people to feel their anger. Feel your rage. And I know sometimes it gets really heavy and really hard to deal with. I'm not saying to act on it though, or stay in it all the time. I'm saying to work on feeling it and seeing it. Investigate it, seek to know it. Like science. Find out what it's there for. Find out why you feel that. What is it driving you to do? What are you passionate about? I think that we really try to avoid anger because we haven't been taught how to deal with it. We haven't been taught how to properly process it and to not just have that anger or just be mad at everything and everyone. But there are tools. There are ways. A good reminder that I tell myself a lot is from the Magic School Bus. Miss Frizzle constantly tells the children, take chances, make mistakes, get messy. Thank you so much to all the people that inspire me, to all the people out there expressing themselves in their truth. Thank you so much for watching this. Thank you for supporting me and listening to me and seeing me as I am. I love y'all.